Hey everyone, I just wanted to give you a quick message before we started our 2021 holiday gift guide. If you haven't been over there already, we have our Season 4 Man vs. Meeple Kickstarter happening right now. There are a bunch of game bundles and even more promos for you to check out. And of course, it's a fantastic way to help us keep doing what we're doing and make content like this and more of it for you. So if you haven't, go check that out. But for now, here's our 2021 holiday gift guide. Welcome everyone to our 2021 holiday gift guide. We've got a lot of categories to go over tonight. This is would you say this is a special chit-chat presentation? A very merry chit-chat? Is that
yeah, we got the normal chit-chat crew here. David, myself, Emily, and Jeremy Howard joining us. Long distance all the way from Milwaukee. That's pretty close to the North Pole.
MVM, Ryan got this wrong today. I am MVM North. On the live stream.
Oh, that's true. You are MVM North. You're MVM Norther.
Yeah, Northern. I also feel like we should have some effects of like snow coming down the whole time, like just random snowflakes coming down because tis the season.
I like the idea. I like the idea. Since I'm the one editing this, thank you for the suggestion.
Let's just load in a ton of effects. I want reindeer. I want Santa.
I mean, we do one explosion in an episode of Chit Chat, and then everyone wants the world. I'm not ILM here.
So but
we have all the ideas.
This is our holiday gift guide for whatever holiday you celebrate, for whatever reason you want to buy gifts. And like David said, we did break it down into certain categories. You're going to know the gamers in your life better than we do. And while I would say that a lot of our audience is probably leaning towards maybe the hobby enthusiast side, I think we have plenty of people looking for gifts for their nieces and nephews, their cousins, people that don't play serious games. So we're looking at a wide variety. So do we want to just start with the first category?
Let's start with the first category, and this is kind of the get to know you games category, right?
Yeah, this is family games. Family games we're going to do. And this is games that we think can be played just with any age group, with your family, no matter what skill level they are for gaming. This is a great game. Like, some of these are great for kids, for any age group.
And how we did this is we talked about a list for each of these categories. We came up with a short list of games that we'll talk about all of them a little bit, but we all kind of landed on one as the one I think we're going to quote-unquote recommend, but all of them are really great.
Yeah, let's start with that recommendation. Jeremy, why don't you lead us off? Because I know this game means a lot to you.
Oh, man. Oh, so Kabuto Sumo.
Yes.
Yeah,
I've been playing that all year. That's my son's favorite game this year. I happen to love it just because it's silly. I mean, if people are heavy on strategy, they're going to get a little, iffy about, hey, these games can stalemate. They can take a little too long. But some people are actually playing that wrong because this game is just made for fun first, okay? You are taking bugs, these woods, and you're just pushing them and trying to push each other's off. The game's over when somebody flies off. You can play this game in teams. The cool part about it is the science checks out. They have these, the bugs check out because they actually have bugs. Like the dung beetle, they have the giant beetle, the centipede, and they actually have facts on the back. And they kind of act like the bug would do. It's just got a really cool aesthetic to it because the pieces are nice and chunky, and it looks beautiful. I think everybody will want to play this game, and that's why it definitely should be on the list for family games.
Yeah, I think this one, to me, and this probably is the case with all the games we're going to talk about, but this one in particular, when I think of holiday games, I think of those moments where you're off from work and everyone's like gathered, you've got extended family, and you're thinking of the kind of game that hits the table that like people play time after time.
Yeah.
Where, someone comes in, a relative, and says, oh, what's this? And then they want to play next. And then before you know it, people are like, hey, let's have a Kabuto Sumo tournament really quick where we like set up brackets or something like that. This game just feels that way.
When I went to my grandma's house when I was a kid, we would have like little tournaments on things. Like one of them was Hungry Hungry Hippos, and we would have this like elimination tournament of Hungry Hungry Hippos or Connect Four. Or we'd do like Olympics of games. So it was just like, like those are the types of games like this that you can play 15 minutes tops.
Yeah.
And some of them will go faster than that.
This is breaking news here. MVM's holiday gift guide includes Hungry Hungry Hippos and Connect.
Hungry Hungry Hippos. I played that game when I was a kid
Always.
too. So
what are some of the other ones on that list?
We do have some other recommendations for people. Maybe Kabuto Sumo is not for you. That's our primary one. But let's talk about the Key series from Haba.
Yeah.
Because this is kind of like a family-based or family-weight puzzle kind of mystery game.
You haven't played it, right?
I haven't played
And
it,
you
but
haven't?
I've seen all of them. Does that count?
Well, I've played it once. This is a fast-paced sort of mystery deduction game, and there's 3 in the series, and one of them is an actual sort of like murder mystery, but none of them, they're all very family friendly, even the sort of murdery one. Jeremy, though, have you played all of them?
Yeah, I haven't played the third one. I have to buy the third one because it's still not out officially. You have to order it from the Hava website. But let's just talk about this game. I mean, really, it's just a process elimination. You have your little board behind you. You're trying to get these cards, and the cards are literally splattered out on the table. This is another one of those things that makes people happy to see kids like Chaos. The cards are everywhere on the table, and you're just grabbing these cards, looking for clues about who did it, with what, and where they did it. And very simple stuff. It's really appealing to parents because you're taking the cards off, and the color coding will tell you, like, hey, it tells you which key it goes to. But then also you have like evidence about which one. You're doing process elimination. So if this guy wasn't here at this time, there's even a little bit more just like detective-like stuff going on.
Yeah.
You can look at footprints of somebody that was there. You can look at a map, and you'll look at the actual map, and it'll be like, hey, this guy in the costume was here at this time and this other time, so that doesn't check out. So now you have a little process elimination. Now the cool part, the even cooler part, is once you think you have it, you look at your little combinations of who done it, where, and whatever, and then you put in this key code, and it has a board with all the keys, and then you stick it in the key, and if you turn it and it's right, that's how you get the points.
And you literally physically put it in there.
The competition part of it is very low because whoever has the lowest score wins. So everybody has to solve it in a sense, but if they don't have the right number, they lose. And if everybody has the same number, it's who got it at the lowest.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's very fast-paced.
Really cool.
And, I mean, to crudely explain it, Jeremy just did it much better, but the fact that all the cards are just literally just,
everywhere.
It's almost like one of these shuffles all over the table. And you're just collecting evidence on your turn. You take a card and you're like, okay. And it's pretty straightforward like that, but it really gets, the deduction is there for sure. It's not just completely random.
Here's a cool part. It plays at a high player. I think it plays at like 4 or 5. But the key is that you get the key. Oh my God, here we go. So the key here is we're going back in. So the key to this is that you can play partners. Like my son and I, we play together as a team against my buddy Scott and another guy, Randy, who we beat up on all the time at our game group. But yeah, you can play this with a lot of people. And the fact that there's no turns, you're just grabbing cards, and you can even talk to a kid that you're playing with. They want to play with you. You just say, hey, don't grab all the high number cards because we can figure out these clues together, so we don't have too many points. And you kind of just talk your way through it. And I love games when you have family games like that, where you can just, very easy. Everybody can play, low rules, and that's what this game is.
That's a good point.
All right, we got two more honorable mentions.
Okay.
That I want to talk about really quickly for family games, and that's Bites and Animal Upon Animal, which are both, I think, great, easy games to learn. Bites especially has this cute element of these ants moving across these awesome-looking fruit tiles. And, of course, Animals versus Animals has just a ton of animals. I mean, these are really...
It has animals
games.
upon animals.
Must have. I will always tell people this is... Outside of just abstract game-wise, you have to have this. If you have little kids, this is the best gift ever. This is your first kids game. They have a unicorns game. They have a dinosaur one. They have the regular one. Even if you get the Melissa and Doug version, Animal Upon Animal is a very, very good starter game. And it gets kids to roll one die. They stack stuff on top of each other. Who does not like that?
There you go.
Even adults like to stack stuff. Come on. You like Jenga? This is Jenga for little kids, okay?
Nice.
Enjoy.
And I think we had one too, not just kids, but if you were just wanting to play with more like casual gamers, right? So I think we had a nomination for that one as well.
Yeah, we do. So for casual gamers, which I would consider to be kind of a step up from family games.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I think so.
Maybe games that you couldn't play with little kids, like Animal Upon Animal or Kabuto Sumo, but that are still just for a casual environment.
Yeah.
These will help get people into games. And yeah, did you want to announce our
Yeah,
pick?
so the big one was Cascadia,
Yeah.
which I haven't had the chance to play yet, but I've heard really
Oh my
great things about. I know you guys have had the chance.
I think we've all three of the rest of us have
I
played it, right?
just played it this last weekend, and I'd been kind of sleeping on it. We had a copy here for a little while, and I was a big fan of Calico the year it came out. In fact, I think I put that on my top 10 list when it was out. This is from Flat Out Games as well, and it definitely has that same sort of DNA where you're very simply on your turn drafting a thing and adding it to your player area.
Drafting a thing and adding it to the thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
drafting a thing,
Yes.
adding it to a thing. But in Calico, you have a player board, and it's kind of like structured where you have to put things.
Sure.
And Calico probably has a much more thinky puzzle going on. Cascadia is a little more chill, and the artwork is really beautiful. Is it Beth Sobel that does the artwork
Yeah.
on it?
Yes, Best Soba.
And it's got that nice wilderness vibe to it, but you have these variable scoring cards, so every game can be different. And in this one, you're acquiring a little tile that's like I don't know if it's a little hex
Yeah, a little hex
tile,
tile.
and a token. And they're sort of paired up, so you have to take this hex tile, you have to take the token below it. There are things you can do to break those rules so that you can take like maybe this hex tile and any of the other tokens. But you're basically building an environment out of all those hexes. So it's got a tile placement thing going on because you're building kind of like a deserty area or a water area or mountains and putting tokens. And the scoring cards will score on the tokens themselves in a variety of different ways. But then you're also scoring for like the biggest area or the biggest contiguous
Right.
area.
And there's a lot of different scoring options. And the reason why I think that this game is so great for the casual audience is you can bring into that puzzle element what you want to bring into it.
Okay.
Meaning that if you are a new gamer and you're just grabbing tiles and just putting tiles out, you're going to score points, whatever. You could really like think it out and try to min-max your points with these different combinations, because every time you're taking an animal tile, like you might need a specific animal token, but the terrain tile that it's paired with, you might not need for your plan, right? So there can be some depth to this puzzle. But anyone can play it. I mean, the gameplay is so simple, just taking a tile, adding it to your little landscape, and by the end of the game, you have this cool little like biome in front of you of all these different terrain types. I think it has a level of satisfaction of seeing your final product. Even if you don't score a lot of points, you probably still had a good time.
Yeah, everyone likes building things like a sandcastle. And when you're putting tiles out there, I think you nailed it. And I was talking on a podcast on Geek All-Stars just the other day. I talked to someone who kind of was wondering why Cascadia's hit so big. And it's the accessibility, I think, is absolutely the key there. In fact, all of their games feel that way. I think that's why Calico landed so big, too. But it's just utterly one of the most accessible games I've played all year. But at the same time, it's not so dumb of a game that
not at all.
enthusiast gamers can have a lot of fun. So it's not a very dumbed-down game where people are like, well, this is too simple. There's something there for everyone, and that's why I think it's a great casual game.
You know what it is? It's the type of game where everybody at the table has something they're into. Completely oblivious to games, beautiful game, right? Person who like is learning a game and they kind of get excited about a game, this could be that game. The person who takes games dead seriously, they can play this game. Everybody can be at the table. Everybody will, it takes an hour at tops. And that's a good thing.
Yeah,
and it has
for sure.
low explanation. If someone's in charge of the rules, and I always say with family games, if someone's in charge of the rules, it gets the game to the table a lot faster. You know? And this is one of those games that has just a little bit more rules, but even if you pick the scoring cards where like the Eagles are looking at each other, the Bears are grouped together, you can make the game as easy as possible for everybody to be comfortable at the table. And I think that's kind of what these casual and family games are going to touch on. The other one that we have is Trekking the World. Now, Trekking the World is, just one of those kind of, basically is a pick up and deliver, right? Basically, yeah. So you're going around the world, you're going and picking up things and capturing whatever you need to capture. It's an absolutely beautiful game. Lord, I mean, this game is colorful. All right, It's colorful, but you're basically fulfilling orders and going around the world and scoring those cards. That's really all I haven't played it in a long time.
Yeah, but it's the key there is it's easy to play. Easy to play. Your turn is very simple, and also the theme of the game of traveling around the world, like it's a very approachable theme.
It's relatable for sure.
It's very relatable, and the gameplay really fits into that theme really well. I mean, you literally have the world map and you're moving around the world. I mean, this is a good step up into heavier games for sure.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
I totally agree. And I think you see a lot of common threads through a lot of these games, especially casual and family. That nature theme is always really
That's true.
relatable.
That is popular right
Like
now too.
everyone sees animals. Oh, I've seen those animals. Nature going on trips. That's a very relatable thing, and I think that plays a lot into accessibility.
Sure.
Yeah, I think so. We had some runners up, and it's funny you mentioned that because another one we were talking about was parks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which is another one that's kind of themed around that nature, taking a hike kind of vibe as well. And parks is another one, right, like that like what Jeremy was talking about. It's accessible to every level of gamer. You can play that game super loose and just have fun with it, or you can really get into it and try to play that game as strategically as possible and really maximize your score. And I don't think there's a wrong way to approach that game.
Plus, it's beautiful. So even if you don't like board games at all, you're like, pretty pictures. These are gorgeous anyway.
Yeah,
Oh,
all
yeah.
of
Once again.
these nature games seem to get artists that do a really good job in parks and even trails too, which is like sort of the
Parks
even
Junior?
Parks Junior. It's the more accessible version. Although
Yeah.
I think Parks offers a little bit more of what we like.
Yeah.
Both of those games are beautiful in the very same way.
Well, they use that like
And
state park
Yeah.
Yes.
artwork, which is phenomenal. You could get it in playing cards, calendars. Sorry, Jeremy, I didn't mean to interrupt you. So
No. I was just gonna say, like, that's another example. Like, okay, we're just taking simple rules. We're moving as far as we want to,
Yep.
but don't move too far. You want to pick up stuff? Hey, pick up these beautiful little tree icons and leaf icons, and like pick up these beautiful animals. All these animals they're not one type. No, they're all different types because this game is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
And you're laying it out. You're like, whoa, this looks like a hard game. No, it's not. And there's maybe people who would never use their canteen. There may be people who never have all these abilities and stuff. Does not matter. It's a pickup set collection game, super easy and accessible, and people may want to come back to it because it's so beautiful.
Yep.
Now, that one's going to be on the edge of a little bit of pricey because it is a very high quality product. But I definitely recommend if you're willing to splurge a little bit, I'm sure this will be one that sticks around in your collection. Parks, absolutely amazing game.
What was our
Absolutely
last runner-up?
amazing
yeah, well, you should know because you suggested it, which is the Azul series.
Yeah.
Ah, yes.
And I think
Azul.
that the reason you did suggest it was because you love Queen's Garden so much, the new Azul
I
game.
do love Queen's Garden. But I think Azul has great games across the board. You can choose any of them. I mean, I would personally go for Summer's Pavilion. But also, like, the original Azul is on sale at Target right now. So, I mean, it's really great for any casual gamer, any game group, because it's very easy with this abstract to just pick it up, teach it really fast, and people love the just picking up the tiles,
Yeah.
placing them. It's a
Incredibly-
little bit puzzly, but
Yeah.
still a lot of room to do what you want.
There's nice tiles too.
Yeah,
Really
it
nice
feels very
tiles.
tactile,
Yeah.
but it's not a dexterity game, to be clear at all. But, I mean, they're great. I think it's really easy to break out in a lot of different circumstances.
Yeah,
So
and
great for
I think
casual.
that if Queen's Garden was reliably on sale, that probably would have been one of our top picks for this category.
Although
if you
it
can
kind of
get it, I would say it's a great
Get it.
gift.
Yeah,
but
it kind of leans a little, not heavier, but it's definitely
Yeah.
maybe
it
less
does-
accessible
it
than
leans a little heavier than
sort of
the
old.
last.
And you
couple.
might be thinking, like, why is old Azul on this
'Cause
2021
it's still
list?
good.
It still counts. Azul is a great gift. I actually just had a conversation on the phone today with an old acquaintance from school, and I was telling him what I was doing these days, all about board games, and he's like, "Oh, have you heard of Azul?"
Yep.
And so you could tell right then this is someone who's not like a hardcore board gamer, but they have some board games in their house. And I was kind of enthused to hear that it wasn't like some old game
Wow,
like
you heard of Monopoly?
Sorry or Clue or something like that. And he had Azul, so it was really cool to hear that sort of pick in action with a casual gamer.
This is an example right here. I don't know if we were talking about this. I don't know if we had talked about this, but I was talking about modern classic games, and
Yep.
this is a modern
Oh,
classic.
easy.
It's one of the games that this is an example of what I say about board game collections. The backbone of your board game collection should have abstracts. Like you
Yeah.
need to have a slew of abstracts because most people started board games with an abstract game. So. And this one is gorgeous. So
Yep.
You can't
it's
get
gorgeous,
better
and
than
people
that, yeah.
will love it because it's cutthroat, and you can play with more people. It's not Connect Four. It's not chess. It's something else that you can share between 2 people, which is great.
Yep.
But 4 people, which is awesome. And that's why Azul, and you can even step it up a notch with the blank side. So it's like you give this person that maybe you've been playing with for years, and you're like, you know what, let's play the other side where it's blank. And they go, oh, I've been waiting for this. It's like, it's that game that will stay in your collection. It will be old and dusty one day.
Yeah.
For sure. What's the next category?
Well, the next category is your favorite category. This is 2-player games. These are games that we think are great for just playing with your significant other, brother and sister playing games together. If you're in a situation where you play a lot of 2-player games, this has been a really good year. We should say that. A lot of really great 2-player games came out this year.
It remind me of all the ones on our list. I'll
There
try to
are a
remember which
few.
one we picked.
But we're actually, I wanted to plug too, because we're actually doing a whole video just on our favorite
Yes, we are.
2-player games.
And
So there's been a lot.
that video we'll be posting sometime probably within the next week, but it's going to not just cover all the recent 2-player games, although there have been a lot of them, but it's going to talk about all sorts of 2-player games throughout time. Chess might not be on the list, but I've got some abstracts, by the way, for sure, speaking of abstracts as well.
Well, let me
Is
list
Go
off.
on the list? Jeez. Is Go on the list?
I'm
Is
going to
Portal
list
on
off
the list?
all of our 2-player games, and then we'll talk about which one is our number 1 recommendation. So we have Jekyll versus Hyde,
Very good.
Land versus Sea,
Also very good.
Yes.
Rift Force,
Also
Yes.
very good.
and Air, Land, and Sea Critters.
Yeah, so these are
Yes.
4
4
2-player
solid games.
2-player specific games. And our pick is Land versus Sea. This one
Yeah.
is from Good Games Publishing, and Ryan and I actually played this on the live stream.
Yep.
And it is a head-to-head tile placement game. Now, truth be told,
There's a little caveat.
you can play it with 3 players.
You can even
Yes,
play
you
with
can.
4 technically in team.
Oh
Yeah, I
yes, you
think you
could
can
play
play
it,
with 4.
but it's built as a 2-player
Yeah,
experience.
it is at its core a 2-player game.
And it is probably one of, for tile placement in particular, one of the most competitive feeling tile placement games I've ever played. Like, usually tile placement, you're doing your own thing, you're doing it in front of you. This one, you're building into one thing, and it's pretty cutthroat in terms of how you're placing and what you're doing.
Because it reminds me in some ways of like Carcassonne a little bit in that competitive map building sense, but since it's 2 players, you have a very keen eye on what your opponent is doing. Plus, considering that's land versus sea, one team is trying to make as big of a land mass as possible, while you're trying to make as big of a sea mass as possible. So you're more worried about blocking the other player with every single tile placement.
It makes the tiles very interesting because, like he just
It's
said,
wild.
you are land and they are sea, or vice versa. So it's not like you're placing a tile and all things and variables on the tile mean equal things to you or the other player. So wrapping your head around that and how you have to play it takes a little more thinking than I think we were both first prepared for.
It was deeper than I imagined.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you're used to playing games where, I can close off a C section here and score some points. Only if you're C. If you're land, it's like, no, resist that urge. Like, in most tile placement games, you want to be the one that completes the landmass, or however it is. But no, not at all.
And it makes it so that if you're C, you're focused like, I'm going to put this here because it does this C thing here. And you it's easier to forget what you're doing for the land guy.
Right.
Because there's going to be land on your tile too, and you might have set him up perfectly. Now, after some plays, you get used to that. But just, it does take a couple plays before you can go, okay, I'm doing this for this, but what does it do for him in this land thing? Because you're never even worried about how land scores because it's not how you score your points. Yeah, that's our pick. The other ones too.
Yeah, let's talk about our runners-up. Jeremy, I know I haven't even played this one, but since you brought it up, I want to talk about Air, Land, and Sea Critters. Because I played...
Oh my gosh, Ryan, I swear to you, I'm going to buy you a copy. I've given away like 20 copies of this game. Now like 30. I think I got like 5 of these I've given away. I love this game. It is a must-own 2-player game. Must-own. And you can take it with you wherever you go. Keep it in your car console. Keep it in your backpack. All this is a straight-up war game. They changed the theme just so everybody be a little bit more comfortable because they had like a World War II theme with like bombs and like stuff like that. All you're doing is there's 18 cards, similar to a button shy game. and you are playing them out on these 3 campaign things, 1, 2, 3. And what you're doing is you're playing cards to that to win them over. They have a power of 1 through 6, and as you get to the 6th power, of course, it's just going to be 6 power. But then you have, as you go lower from 5 to 1, they're going to have different abilities. So they'll flip one card, maybe they'll move one card to another one, maybe they'll give support to another card to its left or to its right. And what you can also do is put cards on top of them to protect them and give them like cover fire. So there's all these different things. Everybody's counting their cards, but there's also going to be 6 that are not part of the hand. So you're also trying to figure out by just after you play the game a couple times, everybody knows what's up, everybody knows the cards, and they have to make these interesting choices. It's an intense game. The lands change between rounds, so everything changes as far as like how this stuff plays out. I mean, you're flipping other people's cards across the other side. I mean, just there's an element of surprise. You can even retreat to make sure the opponent doesn't score points. So you can say, hey, this hand's bad. Let me retreat before I give out too many cards and they score more points.
Gotcha.
So there's even that strategy as well. This is all in an 18-card game, folks, and this is less than $20.
Yep.
Must own Air, Land, and Sea Critters.
Yeah, I'm very intrigued by the whole concept that it's 18 cards. I didn't know that about it. It's
I've
very
played
cool.
the original, but I didn't even know about the Critters version, honestly.
The Critters one's far more appealing to me. I do love the artwork on that. It's really
Yeah, the
cool.
artwork is really cute, and it's more vibrant. It's way more vibrant.
And speaking of which, we do have actually some Critters foil cards on our Kickstarter, like a
Ooh.
promo for it.
Oh, for Critters?
Oh,
Yeah,
so
for
you
Critters.
knew about it before today, then.
Oh, I knew about the game, but I didn't know how to play
Sure.
the game.
I didn't even know what the game. I should
But
have
yeah,
looked at the Kickstarter page.
It's a set of 3 cards that are basically just variant cards, but they're foil, which is
That's
kind of cool.
That
Yeah.
is kind of cool. Our 2 other games that we, 2 runners up, I guess I should say, we've actually live streamed both of these games, and that was Rift Force and Jekyll vs. Hyde. You can watch David and Alicia play Jekyll vs. Hyde on
No,
our
do not
fall-
watch. Do
fall
not
live
watch
stream.
that because I got destroyed by my wife.
Spoiler.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, you know what? I'll just tell you right now.
You
can
could've
watch.
guessed it.
You can watch and see how badly I got destroyed.
I think Rift Force and Jekyll vs. Hyde have some DNA in common in that they are straight up head-to-head games. Like in Jekyll vs. Hyde, they're different. It's a trick-taking game.
Sure.
And the way you want to take tricks is different versus Jekyll and Hyde, but you're basically playing tug of war over that piece in the middle. Whereas Rift Force, you're kind of playing tug of war over these cards that are in the center of
That's
the
a
board.
good point. The tug of war
I
aspect.
think that the games are very different, but
Yeah.
that core idea of like you're playing as much to counter your opponent as you are to further your own
Sure.
goal is present in both these games, which I think that's a good aspect of a 2-player game,
Yeah.
but it also does make it puts it into a different competitive lane for sure.
Yeah, I would say 2 things I would add. For Rift Force, I would say if you're a player who's like the idea of getting into a card battling sort of game, but you're not quite ready for something like Magic the Gathering or anything of that ilk, which Rift Force not really like that too much, but it is a card battling game. Try Rift Force. And it was also a Spiel des Jahres nominee.
Oh yeah, and we've had a ton of fun. I think
Yeah.
I remember because this is my favorite story. I remember you being a little wary about Rift Force, and then I taught it to you. We played it on the live stream, and I think you went and played it like 3 or 4 more times immediately.
I went a little crazy for Rift Force when back then, and I went equally crazy for Jekyll versus Hyde. And the way I would sum
Yes.
that up is
Agreed.
if you like trick-taking games, this is a 2-player asymmetric trick-taking game. So that's really all I need to say. If you've played games like Fox and the Forest, or enjoy things like The Crew even, which isn't a 2-player game, but if you like that where people are taking trick-taking games and doing something a little different with it, Jekyll versus Hyde is so much fun and so easy and quick to play, and it can be very swingy and exciting. And then you're just going to want to reset and play again and switch roles because one player's Jekyll and one player's Hyde.
All right, I think we're ready for the next
Yes,
category.
what is the next category?
The next category is our recommendation for puzzle games. Now,
Ooh.
these are not puzzles per se, but these are games that have a puzzle element that is central to
Yes.
the gameplay. And we've got a wide variety of what that means, but we definitely have one recommendation, and this is a game that we all
Yeah.
loved this year. So who wants to be the one to...
I nominate you.
I think Emily should do it, because...
I will take the initiative.
Yeah, there you
Oh,
go.
got him.
That's it.
It's the initiative. So this was one of our favorite games this year, and we ended up playing it afterwards too. After David's glowing recommendation.
After I gushed about it, I did my job. I get $5 a copy.
No, you really did. I mean, just hearing you talk about it, I think it was just one of our chit chat episodes.
Yeah, it was. We were
just
counting
talked
down
about
some
it.
stuff, and it was an experience that, unlike the game's nothing like My City, but it was an experience that I was able to share with Alicia, and we played several sessions of it, which is, those games are rare, where we can get into something and play it over and over and over and over, and that one really
I think this is a great gift too, just because you can give it to someone who you might want to be playing games with or want to do something with, and then it gives you the opportunity to sit down to have multiple sessions
what you're
together and to.
I bought you this game that you could play with me if you really wanted.
If anyone knows gifts that I give, that's usually how my gifts for games are. It's like, here's a game you would love to play with me, but I really do think it's a fun experience that you're giving to someone, and I think that's the biggest thing about gifts, right? You want to make sure you're having a fun experience, and it's a whole experience, right? Because you're doing it over multiple sessions.
Yeah, and it's really tough to explain. If you haven't followed the initiative at all, heard us talk about it, it is at its core a puzzle game. You're moving around this map to collect these runes, basically, and there's like almost like a Wheel of Fortune style puzzle up there, and you're slotting these cards in, and every time you get a rune, you get to open one of the doors, and you get to see some part of the puzzle, and you either have to figure out what word it is, or it's sometimes like an equation.
It is not just Wheel of Fortune. It starts out very Wheel of Fortune, and then it goes crazy, and those things have layers and layers of figuring it out.
The thing I liked about it was that you were playing the initiative, and you were playing as this kid.
Yeah.
And the kid is playing in a game called The Key.
Yeah.
And so you are controlling a kid who is controlling a character. And if that sounds complicated, it's not.
No, it's not.
It's very thematic. It's very well explained. But all the stuff that happens with the kids is in this cool little comic book. And then all the stuff that happens with the key is in the game. And I'm not going to spoil it, but the narrative goes in some unexpected directions.
Oh, yeah.
I'll say that. And
how well did you guys do?
We did
pretty well.
We lost 2, I think, right?
I think so, just 2.
Oh, that's what we did. We lost 2.
But the great part, too, is that people can come in and come out, too. It doesn't have to be like, Ryan and I played all of it together, but we could have had David come in a couple of them, or we could have had somebody else. And so it also makes it, I mean, I wouldn't call it a family game, but it is a game where, like, you can have people come in, come out, and it doesn't have to be such a, big thing.
Jeremy Howard, you're going to have to play this one now.
Still in the wrapping.
It's that's what you said last time we talked about this. Yeah, it's a really good game. And speaking of what Emily just said, we did play and have people come in and out, and it was a family. In fact, Alicia and her son and I played the first 3 sessions, and then he bolted, not because he didn't like the game, but because he had something else to do. And then Alicia and I just finished it, and it has no impact. And it would have been just as easy to have someone come in and teach them what you're playing because of that meta aspect. It's easy for people to get in.
So we do have a couple runners up, if you want to call them that. I had one that I wanted to suggest. I think I might be the only one here that's played this.
I think so.
I think so.
It's not really a game. It's more of a puzzle experience, but it's Neil Patrick Harris's Box 1, which I think might be a Target exclusive. At least that's the best place to get it.
That's where I've seen it anyway.
This box, I'm not even really going to talk about it too much because for fear of saying anything.
Yeah, that's true.
But this is not like any of those escape boxes. It's not like any puzzle box you've ever played.
Okay.
Like, it starts off and you think, okay. You start to wonder, what am I doing? Like, I'll just say it starts off with you just answering these random questions.
Okay.
And it's like drawing cards from a deck. And the whole game is this deck of cards. And as you're flipping these cards, though, like, things start to change. I'll say that. And you start looking at other places that aren't just the deck of cards.
What?
To continue the clues.
Okay,
and
don't say anymore.
There's a lot going on. And it brings in all of that stuff, I think, in a very smart way. In a way that you never feel like you're dumb.
Yeah.
Like, you can go online and get clues like any one of these puzzle boxes. But I feel like most people are going to manage to get through this game. If you've done any kind of puzzle box, you could probably handle this one. But it is one of the most unique and innovative experiences.
And this is single player, right?
It's called Box 1. It's meant for
one person?
For one person.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
I mean,
could you play it as a couple?
You could, but let me tell you want to do it alone. You really want to do it alone. You just do. I'm not going to spoil it.
I'm super intrigued now.
It's super interesting. I've just never seen anything do what this box did. So that was mine. That was more of an experience. I think J-How actually has one that's more of a puzzle game. So Let's talk about games, Jeremy.
Oh, so Project L, man. Project L. This is actually a puzzle. This is like a spatial puzzle because you're going to have, it's basically like a tile deck builder. Yes, I don't know. So it's like you're building a tile builder. I'll call it a tile builder because what you're doing is you're trying to get these cards. These cards have holes in them. They have a kind of a formation in them. What you're doing is you're trying to get different pieces by exchanging them and getting larger and putting them in spots. So let's say you have an eye shape. You're going to be grabbing one size, two size, or three shapes, and you're going to be putting them inside of there to fulfill them. When you fulfill them, you put them to the side, you score points. But sometimes you actually score the ability to get another piece. So then you're trying to do these as the game goes along and people are moving these, but you get negative points at the end of the game for not fulfilling certain requirements. So it's got this puzzly element to it the whole time, and I find that this is a great introductory game. Like, great, because people like to figure out small, quick puzzles. And this game does it really well. And it plays 2-player half an hour, 4-player 45 minutes tops. And if you're looking for another level of puzzle, like just something, let's say for the kids, you can do something like the Minecraft Magnet puzzle game.
It is one of those. Good.
They are by, what is it called? Think Fun, and I think it's either Think Fun or the other. There's another. I can't remember the name of it right now. I don't know why I can't remember it. But it's this company. They make these little books. They have 40 puzzles in them. Mm-hmm. Well, this one has the Minecraft. You stick it inside of there, and you try to make these formations by doing deduction, just like the Key series, and you're trying to figure out where things go on this 3x3 grid. And it's awesome for adults as well who like Minecraft, and it's awesome for kids as well. I mean, I played it on a live stream on our Facebook page about 1.5 years ago, and I still love that game. Still haven't finished it, by the way. Still haven't finished it.
I haven't either.
If you like puzzles, that's a good one for kids. You guys can do them together, and it's got these big, nice, chunky magnets like the ones you put on your refrigerator. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I was playing it with my nephew, actually.
Nice.
And he was able to help me, like, all the way through the easy puzzles. He was able to pretty much do them without my real help until we got to, kind of some of the harder stuff.
That's
so
cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was neat.
That's awesome.
All right.
Next category.
Next category is party games.
Woo! Party.
I don't think this needs any... that was the explanation.
Party.
And these are the games that we think are great for, not just for your holiday group, but these are games that, like what you were talking about earlier, you're going to open this on Christmas Day or Hanukkah or whatever holiday you're celebrating. You're going to open it and you're going to want to immediately play with everybody that's there. And we think all of these games can be played with any group.
And
really.
we've got some classics on here. We've got some newer games on here. But what was the one?
The one that I recommend or that I pushed for, because I think I'm the only one that's actually played it.
You are, but we trust you.
It's called So Clover. And this is a game that just came out earlier this year, but it is widely available for the holidays. This game made me feel like I felt playing Codenames the first time. It's wild. You've got this little like 4-leaf clover, which has the 4 leaves, and you have an interior where you're going to place 4 cards. And those 4 cards are square, and they can be rotated to different sides. And what you're going to end up with is 2 cards next to each other that have 2 different words. So you might end up with a word like shark and swim. And then you need to write on the clover leaf some clue that's going to get people to shark and swim. So I might put beach or something. And you're going to do that for all 4 sides of your clover, because the way that these square cards mix up, you're going to have different words on each side. And then you're going to take all of your cards, shuffle them up with some random dummy cards, and then everyone else at the table has to figure out the arrangement that you had your cards in. Using those clues that you wrote on the outside of your leaves. So if I put beach there, they'd look, okay, shark and swim, but maybe there was a random one that was snorkeling or sandcastle.
And that just comes in.
And that might come in from the random card. Or maybe there was sandcastle was one of the other sides of one of the cards, and I just wasn't. Kind of like in Codenames, you need to be looking at what your opponent's cards are or what that assassin card is. Mm-hmm. You need to be looking and making sure that when they're trying to rearrange these, there's not multiple ways. You really want to give them these clues that can get them right there. I've never seen anything quite like this.
Interesting.
It's super fun. I mean, if you like word puzzle games like Codenames, I think this is, or like Just One, which is, spoiler, one of our runners up. I think that this game is right up there with them. Anyone can play. It's super easy to play, but you're just going to want to keep playing it again and again because everybody likes getting it right. Like that's such a satisfying.
And one player at a time is doing
Yeah,
this thing?
well, I think everyone does it at once, and then you go around the table.
Oh, okay. So everyone has that going on.
Everyone has their and then you go around trying to guess each player's.
Cooperative then.
It's cooperative. Yeah,
Huh.
it's very neat.
Well, that is very similar to one of the runners-up in terms of being a cooperative sort of word-based game. Just
Are
one.
we talking about just one again?
We are talking
Just
about
I
just
think
one.
that's a solid runner-up.
Yeah, we've all played just one,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I think it's a great game because it is one of those games where you could give it to someone and be like, let's break it out right now. I'm going to show you how it's played. It's very simple. You're writing just one word as a clue. And you can play it with a lot of different sizes of groups too, right?
yeah.
So it's like, I think it plays up to 7, but
It plays up.
It plays up to how many
Something like
whiteboards
that.
you have,
yeah.
right?
I mean, I played
Pretty
it with
much.
8 over Thanksgiving with my family, and we just made another whiteboard, or we just kept
Yeah.
passing it
Or
around.
if you have 2
because,
copies, you can just
yeah.
That's true.
have 2 copies. Like you can play, really.
And it's a very fun experience, right? Because it's very accessible. You can have audiences that are from like 5 to 50 and just use different words and different clues. And so it's just a fun experience.
Yeah, my favorite thing about teaching that to a new group of people is you're explaining it, and hopefully you've played this, but when you're explaining the game and you're saying, okay, they have a word, they don't know what it is, we're all writing clues so that they can guess the word. Everyone at the table at that point is like, okay.
Yeah.
And then you tell them, but if any of our clues are the same, we lose them. Everyone at the table who hasn't played goes, oh. And that's when it dawns on them. And even then, it doesn't dawn on them until the first time it happens. And we lose like 3 or 4 words. And then whoever's guessing has like 1 or 2 words to guess
Yeah.
on.
Nothing can really explain it, but that feeling of like thinking that you're so clever and you got the perfect word that no one else is going to guess,
Yeah.
and everyone reveals, and 2 other people have the exact same word. You're like, what are you thinking?
It is one of those games, too, where if you know there's games where you know the other person well.
Yes.
So you feel like you can do a little something unique and different
Yeah.
that might not make any sense to anyone else, but you guys have this inside joke. The problem with that in this game is that when you flip that around and when it's in this sea of other words, even the person that you thought you knew really well, they'll look at your word, and if it was their only clue, they'd probably get it. But now it just is some weird outlier word that they're like, what? That doesn't make any sense with the rest of these.
My favorite anecdote from just one is that they had Subway, and half the group went literal Subway transit system, and the other group went Subway
Sandwiches.
sandwich shop. And so the clues that they got were a weird variety of like trains and meat and fresh. They were like, they could not get it
That's
because of
funny.
that.
That's funny.
Well,
It's this game, Just One, is my favorite party game. It is my favorite one. I took it to the hood, man. And if it worked in a party in the hood, like it worked at a house party in the hood, it'll work anywhere. Because you got everybody inebriated on some different things, doing things. Everybody's having a good time, and it's hard to keep people engaged. You want a low rules thing that's kind of quick. But we had played a whole bunch of other games that were quick, so I knew everybody was down for a game.
Yes.
And I swung it in there, and I'm telling you, like, it killed. I mean, even people were like running out of the room so nobody could see the word. And, like everybody was just over animated. And the cool part about it is you kind of create your own language. You start to read people who are a little bit more, risky, or people who are a little bit more like straightforward. And it's kind of like you create this presence. I mean, you don't have to be completely engaged. That's the best part.
Yeah.
Like everybody doesn't have to be on their P's and Q's.
Yeah.
They just kind of figure it out. And if you're playing with the same people, you kind of you do become a team. You get better because the stakes are, everybody has the same stakes versus like Pictionary or Gestures where you're on these separate teams. We are a team. And people like that.
Yeah, the fact that it's cooperative is the other thing that I think
It's huge.
it's one of the first cooperative games that I teach a lot of people, or people who don't play games a lot. We always get just one out, and I'm always reminded about how many people haven't played a cooperative game until we get just one out of the
cooperative
table.
party games don't, like Jeremy just said,
Yeah.
they don't happen very often.
Right.
It's usually teams. Like any party game you could name, it's generally teams.
Well, I got another one that's not a team.
Oh, here we
and
go.
it's not cooperative, which
Are
is
we
our other
gonna-
runner-up, which was Game of Things, or just Things.
Yeah.
Which is another great party game, lots of fun, very accessible. You're going around, you get a prompt that's like things you wouldn't want to say on a first date. and everyone in the room goes around and writes down what their thing would be. And then the objective is we're going to read them off, and you have to try to guess who said what. So it's like what Jeremy was talking about, when you start to realize who says what kinds of things. Like, oh, David, did you say, I've killed a man before, like things not to say on a first date.
I haven't done that.
But you don't say it on a first date, even if you have. Just don't bring it up on a first date.
I like to be honest, though, and straightforward.
So it's really cool because while you're doing it, you're writing your thing, and you're thinking, like, maybe I want to put something because, like, they're going to think David said this, right? And I'm going to throw him off. Or you're just, like, having a good time, having fun. You're like, this is super funny. I'm going to write this.
Right, you want to make people laugh.
And you make people laugh.
We played that game so much for just making people laugh.
But it's not a co-op because you are getting scoring points. You want to be the person who can guess who said what.
Yeah.
But it's not super competitive, right?
Because you're just having fun.
Because you're just having fun. It's also not teams, so it's great when you have an odd number because you can play at any count. And I was in Target too, saw that they had a new edition of it for Schitt's Creek, if any of you are fans of the show.
100% I'm a fan of the show.
They have the Game of Things for Schitt's Creek specifically. So, like, things that Alexis misses about her past life, or things that you want to know about Moira. Like, it's super cool if you're into that kind of stuff. So I love seeing them take it a step further.
Well, I'd say Schitt's Creek is a wildly popular show right now. I mean, it swept the Emmy Awards. It won so many for the comedy. Chances are somebody in your life is a gamer who is also a big Schitt's Creek fan. Well, so I think that this is a great intersection.
Those always make good holiday gifts. Is any licensed board game that happens to be a good game as well.
Yes.
That's going to find itself under the tree for sure.
Well, we do have one more that we wanted to say for party games.
Yes.
And this is what I consider to be the ultimate convention game.
Oh, yes. This is a big convention game.
This is a big convention game. It's called Strike. And this is crazy. This game is like a little plastic coliseum. And
or a bowl.
Or a bowl. It depends on which version you're playing. Some of them actually look like...
No, that's true. I'm just it's funny. There's a podcast.
They're basically bowls.
Rolling Dice and Taking Names has a strike tournament at Gen Con.
Oh, they love that. Marty loves that game.
There's a group that's either Team Dice in a Bowl or Team Gladiators in a Coliseum.
Right.
So you're on one of those two teams.
But basically, all you're doing is like you're throwing a die down into a pile of dice in this bowl, and they're all bouncing around, and you're collecting the ones that match. And it
sounds dumb.
It sounds dumb, but it's thrilling.
No, it is. It's a blast.
It's so much
it sounds dumb, but it is like one of the most exciting games ever.
And it's addictive as anything.
Very exciting.
It's like watching a craps table, and you've got people that are like super serious, that are like balancing the die on their fingers, or like rotating the die, or throwing it a specific way. If you've ever seen a group of people crowded around a table at a convention, like cheering, they're probably playing Strike. I know we're guilty of this. I don't remember which convention it was. It was either Origins or Gen Con. I was walking back to the convention center, and there was a group of people outside playing it on the sidewalk. And there was just a whole group gathered around. They were throwing the dice down in Strike, which is... I've never seen anything like that before.
It is crazy. We could try to explain the experience of playing this game for the next half an hour, and it still wouldn't do it justice, because you do have to try it.
Right.
You have to play it. I mean, I was just thinking about, well, should we talk about the rules to explain it? We really can't. You're
Just
throwing dice in there, and crazy swingy things can happen. It's basically the closest thing in board gaming to being in Vegas. It's like being around the craps table, but it's just fun shouting around this bowl.
And they
of
did just release but there is a Harry Potter version of Strike out as well.
Really?
It came out either last year or 10 years ago, depending on how long this pandemic's lasted. I think it was early last year, but time is nothing now. But you can still get that for kids or people that like Harry Potter, and it has a little bit of different rules. Like you can get some like magic powers you can use to change up the game a little bit.
Just make sure that if you're looking for that game, you can get it for like $10.
Yeah.
10, 12 bucks. I mean, like, you're like, why is this game so cheap? I mean, 15 tops. It's a dice in a bowl, basically. And I'm serious. You have no idea how much fun is in there. Another test right here. One of my friends only loves heavy games, pretty much only loves heavy games. He dismisses every other game that's not heavy. We played that game. He was so hype. Like, the level of hype and happiness. Shout out to Scott. How you doing, Scott Gunderson? But he was, like, so happy. And then he went to Target, like, 2 days later, and it was in a clearance bin. And he, like, messaged me how happy he was. Because that game, it just ignites people. It's very risky, swingy as all heck. And, man, what that just shows you how simple fun can be right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for
You know?
sure.
All right, so we got 2 more categories, but these are kind of similar, but we wanted to kind of break them apart for a specific reason I'll talk about.
Oh yeah, this first one's interesting.
The first one, we're talking about big box games.
We're breaking the bank. We're breaking the bank.
Yes.
That's what
That's
we're
the reason we
doing. That's
wanted
what
to
we're
break
doing.
this
We're
out
taking
into
the
its own
gloves
category.
off. Now we're putting on the stuff where you want to show off your Kickstarters. You want to buy big gifts. You know, all this stuff right here. This is where the holiday goes. Hey, the board game person has arrived. Or you want to surprise the big board game person in your life. And you want to give them something big. You want to give that big present. You know how your family has that big present? Maybe your
Yep.
family has what they're like, hey, we're going to give this one big present away.
Yeah.
We had that in my dad's side of the family. They would give out this one big gift. Well, this may be the one big gift you give off. These are high price tag things here. Not everybody can do this.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure.
And I think so. Keep that in mind. But our number 1 recommendation here was Descent, Journeys in the
Yes.
Journeys in the Dark.
Yes.
Something in the Dark. I wanted to call it 3rd edition, but it's not really 3rd
It's
edition.
definitely not 3rd edition.
But you'll recognize it because it's the giant blue box that says Descent on it at every game store. This is a wildly popular game right now.
Yeah, and it is a huge game, and one other thing I'd say is like that big present you get under the tree, is it's the thing that you'd open as the board gamer, and this is what you'd spend the rest of your day doing. Remember, like you'd still be in your pajamas at 7 p.m. playing like the second or third scenario after sitting there all day, learning it, downloading the app, and all of that. It sort of fits that perfectly in my mind in terms of that big box, big gift that you get.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have played it at all, but I mean, David and I have started it. We haven't gotten a chance to finish
Just barely.
It's a long game. I mean, it's a campaign game that actually feels almost like it has a lot in common with video games.
Yeah.
So if you have people in your gaming family that are big video game fans of games like Diablo especially, this feels like a board game version of that. Up even to the point where you could like craft weapons in this game, and you can assign buffs to your weapons to give them like hit percentage chances and like special ability triggers, and all that stuff is handled by an app. So you don't have to do any of the bookkeeping for yourself, which I think is nice because you're not piling up piles of resources. The app is tracking all your resources, your upgrades, your town that you're in, all the people that you've talked to. It's all done in the app, and it's super thematic, I think.
Yeah, plus the reveal that this game continues to give you as you play it, it's almost like you're opening gifts the entire time. Because I remember when we played, you're playing along and we're thinking, well, surely this is the end. There's no more. And you're building the map as you play. And some people like that. Some people haven't. I really enjoyed it.
I do too.
I enjoyed that experience. And you'll turn a corner, all of a sudden you're building this new giant area with even doors on the back of it, and you're like, oh my gosh, we're not even done.
Right.
Like, what is happening here? What's going to be behind that door? Because I thought the last thing was crazy. Yeah, that just talking about that actually again makes me want to like crack that out.
We'll get through it all.
over the
I'm
holidays.
Sure we'll get through it all. I don't know. You guys probably haven't played it, but
No, we
would you play it?
Yeah, would you play
Would you
Descent?
play Descent?
Would I
Uh-oh,
play
this feels
Descent?
like a no already.
It is a no for me.
That's fair.
But when you talk about it, I think about someone in my life who I think would really like it, and it does seem like it'd be that kind of game where they break it out and they like just are at it for hours, right? And they're just like poring over it, and of course I'm playing with them, and so I'm like, all right, I got you this game. I committed to it, so I'm going to be in it with you.
Well, there you go. That's nice.
We did have 2 runners up to that as well, two honorable mentions, and that is Ankh and Too Many Bones, which I think are both solid gamer games.
For sure. Jeremy, you are the resident expert on both of these because you've played, I think, a little more Ankh than we have, or at least more recently.
If you want a true adventure, you want to play all day, you want to, like you said, stay in your pajamas, you're going to open this big box game, high price tag. It's got dice all over the place. You're like, oh, what are these dice? What are these characters? And then when you open it, you got all these character cards, and you got to figure out what's what. But it's one of those true adventure experiences. And you have enough for up to 5 people to play. I would not necessarily do that. You have 4 people you play with. It'd be 4 people total. But you're going to have a great time. That game is going to be the gift that keeps on giving, especially if you're giving it to someone and you're in that gaming group with them. That would be something like that would be exciting to them. So it's
Yeah.
like you may give it as a gift, and then the next week you guys play it together,
Yeah.
or you play it. You're a group of people that play together, your family maybe, or your close friends. That would just be a great gift, and you would go big with it. And it's not a game that everybody can afford. It's like in that 120, 130 range, and that would be an awesome big time gift if you were to give one away. Ankh is just a big confrontational game. It's got a gigantic presence on your table, and it's very, very aggressive type game. But it's also a smart design that's easy to learn, but it's also got this real brutalness to it. So if you're one of those people that likes a lot more action and confrontation, this is definitely going to be your game. But don't be fooled. Don't be fooled by the easy turn structure. There's a lot going on in there. I was very impressed with that game.
Yeah, plus Ankh has like 180 boxes to it.
Yeah, if you get so that's the thing I think to point out for games like Ankh and Too Many Bones.
Yeah.
These are both Kickstarters that have a ton of stuff with them. You can get just like the core boxes from retail.
But then if you like it,
there's expansions.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
more minis, more figures. And I know some retailer stores are still letting you just get all of it in one go.
Yeah.
So you'd want to talk to your individual game store and, just ask because they might have all of it.
Yeah.
for sure. What is the final category?
Well, you should
The
know
one
the
you've all been
final
waiting
category.
for.
Well, I know I was going to let you do it.
Oh, okay. The final category we're going to say games for the hobby gamer in your life.
This
Yeah.
is sort of our wheelhouse.
This is our wheelhouse. This is our kind of audience. People that really like games, that are into the hobby aspect of games, that can play games across any of these different categories. We kind of narrowed down 3 games that we think are perfect for those gamers. Do we want
Yeah,
to
and there
start
were-
with the number one?
Yeah, before we say the number one, I'll let you do that. But before we
Oh,
say
okay.
it, there is a ton of games this year in the late part of the year that we've played that we can't recommend as holiday gifts because they're just not yet available. A lot of the stuff that you've heard us talk about on Chit Chat and on the channel with all sorts of content.
A lot of the stuff that's behind
A
us
lot of the
here
stuff
we've
that
been
we
playing.
have right here that we're, unfortunately taunting you with in our holiday gift guide. Those are going to be available either late this year or January, February of next year. So with that said, we did come up with a pretty solid list, though, of ones
Yeah.
that came out a little earlier or
definitely.
are available.
I think any one of these 3 games, any
Oh, yeah.
game in your life would love to have. But what we are recommending as number 1 is Mind Management.
Yeah.
This is such
Yeah.
a solid game.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't.
It's an experience too, right?
It really is. It's a hidden movement kind of game. One player is the mind management agent, and you are behind this shield, and you have some cards that correspond to these icons on a grid board. And your goal is to try to move across this board, hidden movement, so you're only tracking it behind your little shield, and you're trying to collect these icons on your cards, while the other players at the table are all rogue agents trying to stop you. And they're trying to deduce where your movement is. So if it sounds like just your average, hidden movement game, it does have some of that DNA. But the way that you deduce the clues is so unique.
Yeah, the hidden movement here. So hidden movement is hit or miss, right? And I think you could get this game out even with non-enthusiast gamers, as long as you were the one who learned it and you were
Yes.
playing behind
Sure.
the shield. Not anyone's
the
going to be
rules.
able to sit behind the shield the first time
Yep.
and do that. But once you've played it once and you can kind of explain it a little bit, this is the kind of hidden movement game that you can play. You can play again, and someone else can try to be that role.
Yep.
And you could, if you wanted to, go around the table and let almost everyone get a chance to do that, which you just cannot do in most hidden movement games. Most hidden movement games are a 2 to 3 hour investment.
That's
and
the thing.
they've got some ups and downs, more downs than I'd like, but mind management,
It's like an hour game.
it works
Oh, yeah.
so well, and it's beautiful looking. It's got a really cool twist on the art style, but I dig it.
Yeah, it's based on a
Yep.
comic book
Called Mind Management.
Called Mind Management as well.
Let me say
the
this:
Same art.
it is also, you can keep it as simple as possible and just kind of play the base, or you can go more advanced, and the game evolves.
Yeah.
Yes.
So one part about the game is if one side loses, they gain an advantage by opening something, and it'll give them an advantage for next game. And then if the other side wins, they get an advantage. So you may not even see who gets what advantage because you're going to skip over certain parts. If I win 2 games in a row, then the other team is going to get 2 more advantages, and they're going to be able to try to catch you. And I will tell you, if you're the recruiter, if you're the one behind the screen, it gets tough, man. It gets real tough. It gets real tough to hide. So trust me, if you think you're really good and crafty, stay behind that screen and see what happens.
And those things that you open too they don't just give you a slight advantage. A lot of them will straight up change up the way the game is played in many ways. Like really affect the mechanics of the game in a really unique and interesting way.
I like the way that works because you have your actions printed on the board, and you always have the same basic actions like move and search and capture, but you're slotting cards based on your difficulty level. So your move might be 2 spaces, it might be 1 space, it might be diagonal, whatever, based on that move card. The way that you can capture him is going to be different based on that capture card, harder or easier. So they really change up the game quite a bit by really just giving you the same moves, but letting you carry them out differently.
Yeah, I can't recommend this game enough. It's probably of the ones that we're about to talk about on this category, it's probably the least traditional sort of medium to heavyweight Euro for sure. It's not that kind of game, but it is definitely a game that's for enthusiast gamers for sure and hobby gamers.
Oh yeah, and it's just fun. You'll have fun playing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I think is great too, because maybe the hobby gamer wouldn't pick it up for themselves, or they think like, oh, hidden movement, I'm not sure I want that. But getting it as a gift, they get it, they played it a few times, they're like, oh, actually, this is great. So I think it's a perfect gift for that reason.
Also, it's flying under the radar a little bit. Like, this isn't all over the place.
No, but I think it's starting, like, word is spreading. It came out, it was a Kickstarter released in retail, so you can get it. There are copies available. So, yeah, I'd say just get it. It's fun.
So stay tuned for our top 10 games of the year.
Mind
spoiler,
management might pop up on some of our top 10s.
But we did have 2 honorable mentions, which, to say that, these are both also fantastic games.
Great games.
They are.
Anybody would love to receive. One of those being the 2nd edition of Great Western Trail.
Cowboy hats.
Cowboy hats.
All we need to say. That's all we need.
And this is one of those
Little
heavyweight Euro games you were just talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. This is, I mean, if you haven't played
classic.
Great Western Trail, this is a great time to get it as a gift. And even if you have the original Great Western Trail, I still think there's probably room to give this as a gift to that person.
Yeah, I think that's a great reason too, because like when a 2nd edition like this comes out, if you already own the game, you might be on the fence. Like, do I really want to spend another $60 or however much this game is? I haven't looked it up. I'm sorry.
It's about that.
But do I really want to spend that money again to get this game that I already own? But getting it as a gift, it's like, oh, this is not something I would have bought for myself, but I'm so glad you did get it for me, because now I don't have to feel guilty about buying a game again, right?
Yeah, that's actually a really good point, because as if you don't know, this is the first in sort of, I don't know if I'd call it a trilogy, but they're doing a series of Great Western Trails of 3 games.
That are all kind of connected to each other thematically?
Exactly.
I might call that a trilogy.
Yeah, well, I don't know that I would say that it's a trilogy, but they're doing 3 games in a series, and if you have the original, it's not going to look like those next ones.
Right.
So I think there's a lot of gamers out there who are in that boat where they're like, I don't know if I want to buy it myself, but I bet they would be happy to get it as a gift. Yeah,
or just the thought too, right? Like, I know you like this game, or you've talked about it in the past, and like, so I got you the 2nd edition. It's just, it's not just like here's a game I heard about on this video, but also like, I thought of you. You know what? I've heard you've talked about this game too.
Right. A lot of people love Great Western Trail.
So what's the other one?
Well, the other one is a game. This was close. This could have easily been our number 1 recommendation, but it's Hadrian's Wall.
Yeah.
And we all loved Hadrian's Wall. We loved Hadrian's Wall.
I loved it too. Yeah.
Did you love it too? Okay, great. And Jeremy, you loved it too, right?
Yes, absolutely. Solo as well.
Which is great.
I should chime in on this one, because I wanted to say about Great Western Trail, also a great purchase for someone who plays solo as well.
Yeah.
So if you have someone, they play with you sometimes, but you know they play solo games too. We've had several games like that in here today. We've had Cascadia. We've had Too Many Bones. You have, what's the name? We just talked about it. So Great Western Trail as well. So you have a lot of things that you can choose from. Just One is not for just one person, just so you know that.
It's a pretty boring game of just one.
You can play Descent solo as well. So I just wanted to let you know that kind of stuff. But yeah, Hadrian's Wall, it's going to be insane. Now, for people who are heavier gamers, this might appeal to them because
Yeah.
you're going to have a roll and write, and if people don't even like roll and writes, I would suggest they try this one, especially for heavier gamers, because you get to move around actual pieces. You're going to have different pieces. You're going to be marking off a ton of stuff. It's engine building mechanics. All you're trying to do is defend your wall, but you got cards that come down as in-game scoring cards as well. You're trying to defend the wall with different direction cards, and you're checking off boxes on one side and another side. And yes, this roll and write has 2 different pads. Yes, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's huge.
But it gets it done, and it fills a lot of things for someone who's casual and also who likes heavier games. This is a very heavy roll and write in the vein of Fleet, the dice game, in the vein of Roam and Roll, which should pretty much be a Euro. And this game feels like it should be a Euro, but it is definitely a full experience for a roll and write.
And I would say that heaviness, not to let that scare anyone off, even though this is an enthusiast category, that heaviness comes in the teach as more so than it does the play.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's a long teach, but then once
long
everyone,
teach.
long learn, long teach. But once you start playing, it's actually quite simple. And man,
Yep.
talk about combos. If we did a list of like the most combo-licious games,
Oh yeah, for sure.
this might be
You're
at
just
the top.
triggering combos all over.
You're
the
triggering
place.
them all over the place, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again. The fact that you're like reaching in and out and grabbing those resources just makes it so much more fun.
I want to play right now.
I do.
I think
Now, you got to watch out for people who are at your table that maybe have a little bit too much to drink. They got a little spiked eggnog, and they're trying to slide a couple workers their way, okay? Or if you are a cheat like Ryan is every Wednesday at 12 o'clock Eastern time, you got to watch it, okay? So if Ryan's at your table too, maybe had a little brandy in his eggnog, got to watch him at your table.
you know what though.
Okay?
All those
Just
cheats,
saying.
those cheats
Just
are always
saying.
detrimental to me. It's always me. I forget to do things, or I'll forget to get. Even today, we did a live stream of Lost Ruins of Arnak, and I forgot to take a bonus tile. I was supposed to get
he
even,
did forget to do that, but I will say I don't know that it was detrimental to him in the end. And also, and I promise not to do this too much, this is just the second time I have to tell you, we do have a promo for Hadrian's Wall on the Kickstarter.
Okay.
It's one of the coolest promos. We were able to get a set of cards for Hadrian's Wall. If you've ever played it, you'll understand. Every player gets one of these cards to add to their deck. And it's a new card that has a new scoring, end of game scoring, obviously, on it. But it also comes with rules because you play a little bit differently. It's going to actually change the structure of how you're drawing cards and choosing which cards you want to score and not. It's called the Actor. But it completely changes the way the game plays. We're really excited to have it.
I'm excited to get it and play it as well.
Yeah, me too. I really want to get it in our hands.
I mean, I think it's a great game. I think anyone that gets it is going to love it. I think the reason that Mind Management edged this out is because of the approachability.
Yeah.
Mind Management, you can open that box and get to playing that box in about 30 minutes.
As long as someone knows how to play it.
Well, even learning the first game,
That's true.
Yeah.
They jump you right into it with a tutorial mission where you literally kind of learn the game as you're playing. It's super easy to play. Hadrian's Wall is going to take a little bit of research, a little bit of learning.
You have to read those rules. Someone has to really know how to play
But
that.
all 3 of these games
But if it's for a hobby
great.
gamer, they're
Right.
going to like it. They're
Yes.
going to have a good time with it.
Yeah, and it's, again, another spoiler alert. A lot of these games you're hearing, not a ton, but some of them will probably pop up on our top 10s, I'm guessing.
possible. We'll have to wait and see.
I'm guessing. That's not a hint that Hadrian's Wall is going to be on there, but spoiler alert, it's on my list.
It might
for sure.
be. My list isn't finalized yet, so...
So that is our holiday gift guide for 2021. There's a lot of categories.
Yeah.
It's a lot of games. Some of them from this year, some of them from past years. Hopefully you find something in there for either you, like Emily, if you want to get a gift for someone, but also kind of for you.
For kind of me.
There's a lot on there.
Oh boy,
until next
the
time,
Homer
though-
bowling ball, the Homer bowling ball there.
Homer, oh yeah.
Get something.
Quick story. I once got my dad a Father's Day gift. His Father's Day gift was the official collector's book for Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but he didn't care about it at all. It was totally...
for-
I was a little kid, mind you. This is when Empire Strikes Back was in theaters.
Right.
But I remember buying... And my whole family still gives me grief to this day about getting him that
awesome.
Father's Day gift. But anyway, hopefully you get gifts that are for the people you're getting for them more than they are for you. And until next time, make sure everyone has fun at the table, and we'll see you then. Chit Chat is sponsored by Fun Again Games, where everyone is welcome at our table, and your source for hard-to-find imports, liquidation games, new releases, and much more. Be sure to visit funagain.com to check it out.